Hello, everybody. Welcome back into the main show for special athletes, for special reviewer, with special mind to special viewers. That's never gonna catch on, but whatever. We're gonna go into SmackDown real quick. Not SmackDown Live, because I have respect. I have respect for a show that's been going on since I was born. I have respect for this crap. And if they're trying to sell us into a huge angle, as much as Kofi Kingston facing off against a legitimate main eventer like Randy Orton, and a legitimate storyline, not a feud, not a match, not a dream match, a feud that's legitimately supposed to make Roman Reigns sympathize and give us something enticing so we can watch it next week. I, sadly, whether the show wasn't gonna suck me in or not, was one of the suckers of last week. As Daniel Bryan proposed to Roman Reigns, he was going to reveal and capture the man, the assailant, the supposed attempted murderer of Roman Reigns for the previous weeks on SmackDown. And Roman Reigns, his view on it, last night's review should my Raw review should keep you up. But other than being angry, doing a promo and an interview, how are you feeling about these attacks going suspiciously, and who you think would be your attacker? Something like that will be on Raw. Except Roman Reigns just had a random match on Raw the last night, and then he doesn't even have a King of the Ring match to proceed with a storyline, especially going with one of the bigger parts of the business, like a King of the Ring tournament. And obviously, you would get your winners, and Andrade, and for storyline purposes, because Kevin Owens is babyface, Elias. And they're only doing this because they need a power-hungry authority figure to play the role. Thinks Vince is too old. Triple H and Stephanie's already played out, and most of the guys they have that are perfect for a GM are in bigger roles making these half-assed storylines. That wasn't even opening of the show. I'll tell you later, and I'm going to get fucking angry, and I'm going to hate myself because I don't like getting angry. I really don't. It's like the worst part of any human being, especially myself. A person from my past, I hate getting angry. I got in stupid fights. I got my ass in stupid injuries. I hurt people that I really don't like to hurt. And it came to a grueling, terrible, fucking outburst that, got me away from people. But now I'm nearly an adult. I mean, I'm not in a time when I'm legal to drink, but I've grown up. I learned to mature and I learned how to stop holding grudges. But WWE is just that thing that you want to hate, but you just slowly try to hug it. We had Kofi Kingston secretly with a behind the back attack, and they keep calling it it's a cheap shot. A cheap shot is an attack that you're too slow to get. That's a cheap shot. Turning around and hitting a Trouble in Paradise isn't a cheap shot. That's a surprise attack. Whoever said that on commentary is getting pimp slapped. Because that was Randy Orton being, how does it feel picking your Negro boyfriend up and not saving him when I try to break his ankle? Kofi Kingston tried to do the same thing. He tried to break his ankle, trying to get an eye for an eye. Even though Xavier Woods and either Kofi or Biggie Langston were majorly there for a majority of the show. Most of them, your WWE champion or his own cohesive unit, weren't even there for a majority of the show, even though he's your world champion. And you're seeing why I have a problem with this. Sorry. Should have kept it on fucking mute. But other than that, yeah, it was an alright segment, Kofi Kingston trying to show that he's more aggressive, but other than this doesn't sell me into the Kofi Kingston WWE Champion Edition. it just makes it less convincing that it's always going to take a bigger star to always push him over the hump and try to spark his attitude, and then he's going to be back doing these stupid Skittles commercials that were coming over in the middle of commercial break with three grown black men hopping around like a couple jittery bullshit idiots, all because it's Skittles and that's what they're sponsored for Clash of Champions. And let me tell you something. I don't know what's wrong with Night of Champions, first of all. I don't know what's the problem with Night of Champions. They only do it. Some person I knew gave the dumbest remark into why they're doing Clash of Champions. All because they have the WCW license. They have owned WCW since 2001. It is 2019, and the smartest things WWE has done have gone over fluctuation of pay-per-views, overdone nightly schedules for these wrestlers, terrible ratings, terrible popularity, and rejuvenating a football league that wasn't even good for week 2. It couldn't even sell for week 2. It could have died an AAF death in 2001, but somehow had a championship game. It even had an all-star game. Ah, but whatever. Whatever, the match, this is supposed to kick off a rematch after a false finish back at SummerSlam, and that was all we got for Kofi Kingston. Next was the King of the Ring tournament match. I think they cut it in with another segment. I think they did, and it was the middle of I think the Revival walking in and getting ready for their match. Like apparently challenging the New Day, even though they're the Raw wrestlers, because their tag division is so crap that they desperately want to push them as wild cards so badly that they even get a pay-per-view title opportunity for no reason. And we obviously got the minx of Apollo Crews, jobber number 566 in the main roster, facing off against Andrade. Open comma, Cien Almas, close comma. That we're going there. We're going there, folks. We're going into Andrade having a pretty good match. I'm not gonna lie. This was a pretty decent match. Showed Gorilla Press. It's the same move set for Apollo. I don't think he ever changed his move set, and he's been the main roster since 2016. That's a depressing note to how much potential he has. He's athletically gifted. But the most impactful move you can tell that Andrade can do is with luchadors or at least guys shorter than him. With Zelina Vega holding his leg for enough breathing space for Andrade to do the fake kick into a reverse elbow. And that always catches every defender. Yes, it's a slick move, but by God, seeing that every time, this was a decent match to watch. It was pretty obvious. This guy never pinned Andrade clean before. And you think he's going to do it in the biggest push for a major star like King of the Ring? Major moment like King of the Ring? No wonder Apollo Crews lost. And then we had the Moment of Bliss segment. Oh, and I think there was a segment before we even got to the tournament match with Rowan and Bryan finding the guy with a black bag over his head. They never gave him a drink, water. The show was 2 hours. I'm sure he's thirsty or hungry. You want to watch something on his phone. You literally left him with a black bag all over his head, confined on a steel chair for 2 hours, bro. What is Bryan and Rowan thinking? First of all, and then we go into Charlotte Flair's Moment of Bliss segment with Bayley reenacting maybe the next feud that might be their 500th wrestling match against each other for the major championship. And I want to say this right now. Scrap the women's title. Just make him one belt. You don't have that many women. They're either injured, doing something else, injured, dead, get themselves in a scandal, get arrested, Summer. And Sunny, and kill me. I don't know, man. I don't know what makes it this difficult. And you have 2 belts, and it was supposed to be a reason. Not a lot of women have screen time, and you can make screen time. You don't have to get to fucking making every woman face off against a women's champion. That's not how you make a feud. Make it against a relationship, trust issues, friendship, faction, behavioral struggles. You can make anything happen in the wrestling business. There is no such thing as only championships make a storyline in WWE. If you do that, you have a lack of freaking creativity, or either you are too close-minded to actually think of something to give these bitches screen time. Naomi barely has screen time. I don't know, I think Tamina's gone for an injury. Nia Jax's gone for an injury. You give the Iconics the titles, and they haven't defended it on a pay-per-view since WrestleMania. Since they got the belts. And not once have they been in a pay-per-view match. That's how irrelevant they are. The only time they have been defended, and they've only lasted for like 3 title defenses on a SmackDown. Who in the hell cares about these belts? And then you have Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross coming in here like you're saying that this doesn't look like this is going to be limited just for Alexa Bliss to have a title shot. Because none of these women look like they can ever like have an interesting chemistry with each other than Nikki Cross's annoying fucking Scottish accent. Holding the belt and acting like she's gotta take a piss and shit while getting ready for her entrance. Like nobody's gonna watch that. We waste too much time. No Amber Moon making a promo trying to issue a rematch maybe on SmackDown. No Naomi. No Natalia, but I get it, she got an injury. None of the Iconics trying to issue. Like, every wrestler should have a point in the show. And if you have 2, fuck it. If you want to make this wildcard thing somewhat relevant, make it impact everybody in the roster. You have fucking Chad Gable in your King of the Ring tournament facing off against Shelton Benjamin next week. That better be the opening match of SmackDown next week. Because I'm not wasting my time, my 2 hours of my life, so I can watch Shelton Benjamin and Chad Gable wrestle in a King of the Ring tournament first round. You gotta be shitting me. You're lucky WWE doesn't do this pay-per-view anymore because how crappy their roster is. And I don't care if they're most wrestling profound or they can do it all or they don't get themselves in that much legal trouble. Hardys, Usos, still drug scandals. I don't know how you get your asses in drug scandals still. And wow, all this hypocrisy and all for a boring ass promo from Bayley and how Charlotte is the most profitable and how she just completely just shown why she's the more important female of the group, even though the over fluctuation of her being a near 10-time women's champion. And we now made these belts. Like, the SmackDown Women's title was made, like, I think late 2016. And the Raw Women's title was made, or the Women's title, if you really were watching Raw and SmackDown for that long. Like, made early 2016 after the Divas moniker has finally got ripped from the stratosphere after WrestleMania 33. Or I think it was 32. Yeah, it was 32. But other than that, these belts lasted. These new design belts lasted for a total of 3 years. 3 fucking years. And Charlotte have been in the business for only, I think, like 4 years or 3. And Charlotte only been here since 2015 on Raw and SmackDown. And she has coveted 10 women's championships. And you see why nobody wants to watch the women's title. Now, Charlotte, Bayley, somewhat Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks, Natalia, Naomi, Alexa Bliss, at times, can be tremendous talents, and I'm not trying to knock them over. I have praised their matches before. I think that they're tremendous talents. I'm not going to, like, over always talk shit about them all because they're still garbage time to me, or they're a waste of time. But you don't give them a lot of breathing room. You give them too many belts. They're not doing a lot of crap. Alexa's still having these pointless tag team matches and having these moment of bliss segments, but she's not doing much to get her own self over, other than she's cute and she has a decent personality, and she's not given that much screen time other than moment of bliss. And then you have Charlotte just bringing up why clearly I'm more important, and no one cared about your match with Amber Moon. And it's supposed to issue a championship match with Bayley actually acting like the bigger person, and all because she gets insulted. She wants to stay away from bullies and just shove and just push Charlotte off her chair. That's proving that you're a real woman. That's for proving that you're a real adult. That's not cool to anybody. Or you giving back the Divas moniker because Bayley's acting like a little bitch. And it's not cool. It's not her standing up to Charlotte. It's not cool at all. Then we had Buddy Murphy with a pretty good match. He opened up with a huge bicycle knee. We keep calling it the V trigger from Kenny Omega. It was funny. He had some good reversals. Some super kick on Eric Rowan for an interruption over the match. He ended up using that pump handle into a backbreaker, winning the pump handle into a backbreaker to win the match over Daniel Bryan. And Daniel Bryan was really physical. He was really trying to get his fingers, trying to show that he's more heelish because he's trying to actually torture the body. It was a good match. I'm not gonna say 2 good matches in a row. Buddy Murphy is now 1-1 on SmackDown. I don't know what kind of charisma that he has at all. He has barely any other character than he's notable for 205 Live. And thanks that I heard about the 205 Live situation, I think it's not that bad if they just bring it back into that third hour of Raw. Do something with it, because you have a cruiserweight division. Nobody said it was a cruiserweight brand, or else nobody's gonna get sold on that. That's like the women having their own champion, having their own brand. Please don't make that a thing. I'm begging you. And this was all because of Daniel Bryan's promo earlier, before, when he accused Buddy Murphy of being a liar and a coward, all because of the accusations he gave to him the last previous weeks on SmackDown. And it got into a match that Daniel Bryan sadly lost, but somehow he still revealed the character to Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns had barely anything to say. Hell, he didn't even have a match. We also had over the show Shane McMahon and Kevin Owens just continuously bitching because he has $100,000 fine. And I get it, for anybody, $100,000 is a huge fucking guap of money. But you've been in the WWE for like since 2014, Kevin. Are you sure you can't rack up that much money in that amount of time and just pay off $100,000 for a fucking ref? That should be at least 15K, at least. And second, well, why? Oh my God, this feud is still continuing. Like, this does nothing for anybody. Shane McMahon is obviously just looks like a babyface to begin with. As much as you want to get over with Kevin Owens, obviously he does better as a heel, and he's more entertaining as a heel. And when seeing him wear that Owens stun shirt, it makes me want to kill a puppy inside. And then he loses in King of the Ring over the huge scuffle with owing $100,000, getting pissed off, and Shane McMahon saying that he'll take it under consideration. Then we had Heavy Machinery face off against a Revival in a tag team match that I barely saw. I forgot that Heavy Machinery was even on television for the last the last 2 months. All they had was one tag team title opportunity against maybe the New Day, failed, and I think a triple threat tag team match, and then never got a title shot again, or haven't been on TV. They couldn't even get the Viking Experience treatment, that they at least show up for a squash match or two if you want to get these guys over. And they had the worm, a counter off a roll up. Not much I can get, thanks. All the Heavy Machinery do is lift, do power moves. do strikes, build up, do the worm from Otis, counter by the Revival, and the Revival win. Just so they can build up a bit by a cheap finish, just so we can know that they're still heels and they're facing off against the New Day come pay-per-view time. It was underwhelming seeing how entertaining they are in the show. And next up we have Miz TV. I want to tell you something. Miz, I never liked Miz. I found his wrestling gear cool, even though anybody else had some tights, some wristbands, knee pads, and some kick pads. I thought it was cool because of that dumbass logo he had on his ass cheeks for a bit. And then I saw this. Somehow Sami Zayn, a guy that hasn't won anything important since that little feud he had with Kevin Owens back in 2016, the same loser that lost to everything, even in his return match a few months ago after he returned from injury, he loses to the Intercontinental Champion the night he returns on Raw. And the biggest thing he has is talking shit, wasting everybody's screen time, just so Shinsuke Nakamura can come back, and having most of his title defenses on kickoff, so he can just kick the shit out of Miz. I love WWE with the bottom of my heart. I want to stab it. I mean, I want to continue watching. I want to continue watching because I care. It has Shinsuke Nakamura just pointing, it just trying to pause, acting so gay, caressing himself, moving, and being like, is he that way in New Japan? Is that what I was waiting for? Like, wasn't he one of the multi-time IWGP Intercontinental Champions? Supposed to be the central badass. What culture kept sucking his dick so bad? You thought it would be Paige in that sex tape with Brad Maddox, and just watching him when I thought he had some potential, when the acclaimed feud he had with AJ Styles, or Sami Zayn saying that he has enough history with Shinsuke from what the indie scene or that takeover match when he kicked your ass the first time he debuted. I don't know what they're trying to do, but all because he's heel doesn't make him your friend. What's with making sure these guys never have their own characteristics? And second of all, oh my god, isn't he Intercontinental Champion? Didn't Ali beat him 2 weeks ago? And then we have him have a little alliance with Sami Zayn and just kick the shit out of Miz? Wow! What an Intercontinental Champion. And this is moving to Fox. WWE's gonna be broke in 3 years. So then the main event happened, and the main event was the second first round match for the King of the Ring for the SmackDown block. I'm just gonna call it by blocks now because I don't like calling it by SmackDown version. And this was a match that all this had was Shane McMahon was going to play a factor because he's affiliated with Elias, and this accounts for what happened at SummerSlam after Shane lost, and because now he's owed $100,000 fine from last week. And it came into Shane becoming the guest referee over a boring match. Failing, I don't think he used a stunner. Using a pop-up powerbomb. I think there was a good spot from up top. I think one part of the turnbuckle for a near fall. I think one person used the guitar. I think Shane tried to use the guitar. And then Elias got a roll up. an immediate fast count, and that was the finish. And then we had our final segment of the night. And other than one good match the entire show, I just wanted to see. I didn't care about the matches. All I cared about was going to happen to Roman Reigns, who is the attacker, and how is it going to end for the SmackDown. So we have a few weeks in this shit, and maybe they're going to do the final of the King of the Ring at Clash of Champions. I don't know what's still wrong with Night of Champions. That's just a huge pet peeve of mine. Well, y'all want to know? Do you guys want to know who was the assumed attacker? It was a fucker who looks just like Eric Rowan. So Buddy Murphy was partly right. Eric Rowan was partly right. In a half-baked finish that we didn't even get a later explanation in, because they always want to put the whatever screen time they were planning on the women's thing, the matches. They don't do much on telling a story, and this was just so underbaked that I thought this show would do a bit better than Raw. The show did it the same as Raw. Do some promise with this King of the Ring, underbake on the storyline, and then make the belts completely worthless. It's literally every week of the show, and the pay-per-views display how WWE fails to captivate a new audience, or at least can make their old audience continue watching. SmackDown gets a 4 out of 10. I did not like this SmackDown. Because we know we're going to have the same crap. Kofi Kingston might be coming out on top, or a bullshit finish is going to occur, and either Kofi or Orton wins on Clash of the Champions. This feud with whatever Roman Reigns, whoever the fuck that guy is going to get so awkward and so cringe. Or it's actually going to be interesting for once. I don't care about Bayley or Charlotte. I don't care about your women's tag team titles. This tag division sucks. And the non-existence of this sucks so badly. We didn't even get an Aleister Black promo over all of this. And for what reason exactly? Just for Sami Zayn to try to tongue kiss Shinsuke Nakamura, the Nakamura kneeing the shit of the back of the head of Miz. This show gets a 4 out of 5 indefinitely. I don't know. I don't feel like changing my thoughts about the show. There were some parts I didn't mind, but some parts I did mind a lot. And just to update what's going on in my channel, I don't want to bring up a lot of news because maybe you guys know a lot, maybe because of the sources of a lot of media everywhere. But I might be going over the XFL soon. I don't know how much time, but the teams have already been leaked by ESPN, so it's actually the most appropriate time that ESPN should be going over something WWE related because it's actually going over a legit sport. Okay, but that's my review. Hopefully, you guys like, comment below. If you guys want to go into what my thoughts are about 2K20 or any other sort of content or topics that you like seeing me discuss, just click down below or subscribe. You actually get to see a lot of what I do. Thank you for watching.